Oh, I haven't got
Right.
mine.
No, well, you don't need... That was the point. That was the joke, is that you don't
Oh,
need
right,
one.
yeah.
Hang on. Why isn't that straight? There we go. Hello, welcome to episode 37 of Absolute Scenes. I'm taking precautions. I'm wearing my face mask, but Billy, you don't need to wear one in Wales, do you? How are you feeling
No.
this week?
Well, much better now. I've seen you wearing that. It's a sight. Obviously, I'm glad I can hear you because I can't lip read.
And I really wanted one that has got like a big grin or something printed on it or something.
Yeah.
But I've just got a plain black one for the audio.
For the
take it off now. So
just in case we are struggling to hear you. Yeah, no, I'm good. It's my brother's birthday today, and I bought him Adidas masks, like the fitted sports ones, because he's a fashion guru or whatever. He has to wear branded stuff. So I got him some of them. So he'll be sporting them now tonight if he goes out. But yeah, it's I'm good. Yeah, how are you? Other than obviously now you're going back into lockdown again.
Well, we're okay at the minute. But I haven't actually watched Boris Johnson's press conference from today. But what I understand is things are going backwards a little bit. But thankfully, I don't need my nails done, so appointment at the beautician's doesn't affect me too much.
Well, I was going to say you haven't. It looks like you're growing your beard out again.
This is just.
I know you're not allowed, and you're not allowed, are you? The hairdressers aren't allowed to do your facial.
No, well, they can. I think what it is they can shave you, but they can't. No, they can trim the beards, but they can't shave you. I think is what they're saying. Which I don't know what the difference is. Whether I think it's the length of time that somebody's face to face with you is the thing.
Yeah.
But
you obviously seen me last week. You've just thought I need a beard. I need a beard again.
It was inspirational. Yeah. I don't know if you've able to see this on the thing. Can you see? I've got
Please tell me a bird. It's a bird.
I've got a white T-shirt on. I never wear white T-shirts apart from playing cricket, which is something I'll mention again in a minute. One of I've spilt Coke down this T-shirt, and then I've been in school today at the play scheme. So we've got an 18-month-old. And he decided he would lick my shoulder halfway through the day. So that's what that is. And I haven't had a chance to change it. But that shirt that you're wearing, Billy, I recognise from... It's not from the shop in Madrid, is it? But it's something similar.
No, but it's the same. It's a similar sort of shop. I bought it from... I think it is in Europe. I can't remember the name of the company off the top of my head. But
what's the name of that shop in Madrid? Can you remember?
No. We'll have to go back and listen to the previous episode. Plug that in there. But no, they basically just do like retro shirts for all the different clubs across the world. You can get different ones, even the national teams. So I got one of these right back at the start of lockdown because it was on sale. And I think I asked you if you want, because it was from Europe. You had to pay the postage was near enough the same as the shirt.
Yeah.
So I tried to rope you in to get one so I could split the postage, but you declined. But yeah, I think they sell it as though it's a smarter shirt rather than wearing a football shirt, so you could wear it to the office and stuff. But obviously, everyone's been wearing football shirts to the office over the past few weeks because they've been at home.
Yes, very true. And I've got another podcast, Billy, which you've appeared on about football shirts. So if anybody wants to listen to that, show us your kit. Yeah. Series 2 is currently in the process of recording. I've arranged an interview with a Cardiff fan. With a Barnsley fan.
You poor thing.
We're going to be popping off in the next couple of months. But you've got a podcast in the
works.
I think in the pipeline. Tell us about it, Billy. What's your
idea? So it's very much in the early stages. You will probably be one of the guests purely for your hilarity because it's about travelling. And all the people that I've met travelling. But I thought Tom could come on because he's of all the funny stories of how bad he is at travelling rather than how good it is. But yeah, it's basically going to be like talking to various people who go travelling, for people who want to, are thinking about doing it, and like where they've been and what they would recommend, and like if you want to start and stuff. Because especially over the last few months, I know I've been my feet have got very itchy, and I'm raring to go travelling again. So it's asking people who are probably in the same position where they would probably go next and stuff, and things like that. So yeah, other than that, I don't know much because I haven't recorded one yet, so I'm slightly behind you. But over the next few weeks, hopefully I'll be able to get them in the pipeline. And
if it's anything like mine, when I started doing the show us your kit ones, once I'd done like a couple and got the format.
Yeah.
And I think it helped. I used yours as the pilot episode, so like I sent yours then to a few people.
This is what I'm going to do with yours. I'm going to use yours as the pilot one and send that around, and then at least I can go, right, this is what it's going to sort of be like, but obviously yours is going to be better.
You're going to be able to say,
because you have an idea of
how
what to talk about.
Travel.
Yeah. But yeah, so hopefully, that'll be, and I'm sure we'll both be plugging both our podcasts as well as this one on each other's various ones and stuff. So yeah, just watch the space. Have you
got any ideas for the name?
No, literally, I've got a few, but they're not. So I've got Where's Next, nice. Basically. And Are We There Yet? Are We There Yet was another one, off the top of my head. Those are the two that I've written down. I am not very creative when it comes to names.
Well, if anybody listening...
Yeah.
If anybody listening's got an idea, answers on a postcard, please.
Yeah.
Address P.O. Box Cardigan. If you just post it with address Cardigan, Fisherman's Rest, it'll get there.
Yeah, just put my name on it and you'll be fine. Everyone knows.
Billy Roach Cardigan.
Yeah. But there we are. But yeah. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up, Tom, which I know we've briefly had a chat before recording, was I didn't know whether you saw trending on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, the sad news of the Argos catalogue being not cancelled. They're no longer going to produce it. And I was instantly like thrown back to when I was a lot, well, I wouldn't say a lot younger. I'd probably still do it now if I could, of cutting out the whatever I wanted for like Christmas or birthdays and sticking it on a letter and being like, this is what I want. And it was a case of make sure you keep the snippet of the description so we know so Santa knows where to look and stuff. Yeah. So I just and I said to my brother about it, and he was just like, so what? I was like, yeah. To be fair, that is a different generation, even like 10 years of how different things have gone.
Well, you're saying about not doing it that long ago. I remember in our third year of university, I'm going to name and shame now, Lowry Hughes sat on Dan's bed with an Argos catalogue. I don't know if she cut them out and stuck them onto a letter and sent them to her mum, but she certainly was looking through an Argos catalogue and going, oh yeah, I love that, and I love that, I love that. It's a dying art, isn't it? The catalogue. And do Yellow Pages still exist? Are they a thing?
I don't know. People use them, didn't they, to stand up to get up on counters and stuff. Those two catalogues alone.
To kiss slightly taller people.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen now. But yeah, it's definitely a shift now, because especially like Amazon and things, you've got like lists and you can share lists and things like that.
Yeah.
So I thought it was quite funny to seeing that, and obviously everyone like reminiscing and stuff. Of
great Argos memories.
Yeah. Oh, I remember it when it first came out and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, I've got a story as well to share from this week. The last Saturday, we turned up to play cricket because this season, I'm not sure if I mentioned it last week, but this season we're playing intra-squad games, intra-club games because of COVID. So we're not with some of the. I was perfectly happy to travel to other clubs, but some of the other players were not happy to travel to other clubs and things like that because there has been a league that's been set up, but we're playing just by ourselves. And Saturday we turned up to play 3 15-over games between 3 teams. So we were all going to play 2 games. But I knew on last Saturday, it was pouring down with rain, we were not going to play cricket. But club cricket, you have to just travel to the ground, everybody, to look at the grass and go, it's too wet to play, can't play. So then we had to come back this following day, but then a few people were not available, so we ended up just playing 1 game. And I captained one of the teams, and for the first time in 2 years, Billy, we won. I won a game. It's been 2 years since I won. I didn't win a single game last season, didn't hit a 6, didn't take a catch all last season. I still haven't taken a catch. I have hit a 6 and I have won a game this season, so it's already an improvement.
My astonishment is obviously not as great as it should be because I already knew this purely because you'd missed the Chelsea Wolves game.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, that's the first Wolves game that I've not seen since October 2017.
Yeah.
So that game was Norwich City away in the Championship. So obviously, if games in the Championship are not easy to find on other
various means
websites. But there was a game, Boxing Day 2017. Wolves played Millwall, and the way that I watched that game was somebody in a bar somewhere was live streaming the game being projected onto a screen. So I was watching it through somebody's phone on a projection. But yeah, so it's been nearly 3 years of not missing any Wolves games. But by all accounts, Billy, I didn't miss anything.
No, yeah, you didn't miss anything because I think somehow you might have pocket dialed me or something like that because I had a missed call from you and then I rang you back but you didn't answer and then I text you going everything okay. You obviously assumed I meant about the football.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was a very boring game to say the least. I think it was very anticlimactic. Obviously, everyone was building up the end of the season to be this where it would be similar. I think when West Brom stayed up, where it was like there was a goal every like 5 minutes, which was everything was moving about. There was nothing like that, but in terms of the top, Chelsea were comfortably won against Wolves, and then Man United won at the end. But I know
you moved down a place, didn't you?
Yeah, we moved, but we moved from third to fourth. But I think most people expected that. Anyway, I think most people expected Man United to win. I think for us to finish above Man United, we had to obviously better their result. We were for a long period of time, but then once Manu scored that penalty, and then Johnny Evans helped them out a bit because I think Johnny Evans gave away the penalty and got sent off. So it was like, yeah. But there we are. But we'll move on to that. I think probably.
Yeah, go on. Let's do that now. Then,
we'll do that. So we had a look. You did pre-season predictions, didn't you, on your YouTube channel, and we're going to amalgamate them into the ones that we did back at Christmas. So I don't know if you want to start with your pre-season ones because obviously they changed halfway through.
I think it changed rapidly. So I don't think I predicted everything, and I've quickly watched back through that video. I think I spent most of the time talking about Wolves.
For a change.
Yeah. So I predicted Sheffield United to finish in 20th place. Then Brighton and Hove Albion in 19th and Newcastle in 18th. And I think my reasoning for that was Sheffield United, I don't think they spent much money at all, did they? Until the very last minute. I think they bought that Ollie McBurney for about 20 million.
I thought that was Villa.
From Swansea. The striker who's got his socks rolled down to his ankles.
Okay.
So they didn't spend much money. Brighton, I think they just got Graham Potter in, hadn't they? And I didn't think that he was going to be able to cut it in the Premier League. And they'd had such a bad season the season before and just about stayed up.
Scraped up.
And then Newcastle, I've just again quickly watched that video. Said they sacked Rafa Benitez and got in Steve Bruce. And I thought, nah. And they signed Joe Linton, didn't they? And Saint-Maximin. And everyone was like, I don't know, I've never heard of them. The huge thing that I got wrong.
Other than Sheffield United.
I got these two the wrong way around, basically. I said that Norwich City would surprise everybody and that they could do what Wolves did the season before and finish like 7th, which Sheffield United didn't quite do, did they? They fell away after the...
Fell away towards the end,
which is not really their fault because of everything that happened.
They still had, to be fair to they beat Chelsea. They still had better... I think Man United's resurgence after the restart has caused a lot of teams to almost drop down. They still had... I think they had an easy running towards the end of the season, but they didn't drop many points, United. So that's obviously knocked a load of teams down places as well. Yeah. But yeah.
So my reasoning for Norwich was that they'd had a long time of preparing a squad to be ready for the Premier League. So they had, I think Farker had been there for 3 seasons, or this was going to be his 3rd season or something like that. So they had a constant squad and a constant manager, but they didn't add... I don't think they added anything to their squad in the transfer window, whereas Sheffield United did add McBurney towards the end. And then they brought in players like Jack Rodwell, but I don't think he played at all, did he, for Sheffield United? But Norwich didn't add anybody at all. And then their players who they were pinning their hopes on, like Buendia, Max Aarons and Pukki, didn't really cut it for the whole season. They weren't consistent. So I got that very wrong. The top of the table, though...
Just on Norwich, they did have a few... They did surprise... they had a few shock results. They beat City and only just lost to Liverpool, didn't they? Yeah.
I mean, considering they only won 5 games or something all season, the fact that they beat Man City just shows...
I remember them... I think they played City and then they played us and then Man City, or the other way around. And it was a close... I think we only beat them 2-1 and it was right at the end. So I was thinking...
Well, you only just about beat them, didn't you, recently as well?
Yeah, as well. It was, it's only... It was only... well, we're just terrible, so that doesn't really... but yeah... Go on, go on to the top four.
At the top of the table, I don't know who I said for second and third. I imagine it probably would have been Spurs and Man City.
Yeah,
I think. But
that's going off the general consensus. I think most people had those.
Yeah, I'd have gone for
the top three.
Yeah, so I did predict Liverpool to win the league.
Yeah,
because I've just written here, Man City losing Vincent Kompany and losing that leader. Not only did they lose a leader, but they lost another defender as well because they really struggled, didn't they, throughout the season? They had like Fernandinho playing at centre-back. And I remember when Wolves played them at the Etihad and we beat them at the Etihad, it was just because Fernandinho couldn't cope with Traore running past him. Whereas I know Kompany was old, but he was wise enough to know when to step off.
Similar sort of sense for Chelsea this season. Losing David Luiz, as much as a calamity he is, that experience at the back, whether it's him or whether it's our goalkeeper, it's shone through because considering how many goals we conceded compared to Chelsea have been renowned for shutting teams out rather than scoring loads of goals, whereas it's been the other way around this season. But you didn't do too bad, especially
so I think my reasoning for Spurs being third as well would have probably been that it was their first season back at home in their stadium. They would, I think, they didn't have a particularly big transfer window, did they? But they bought. They
did sign a few key big players.
On Ndombele, whatever his name is.
Ndombele, but they hadn't signed like a strike. They were missing. Like if Kane got injured, which he did, they were struggling there. And then I think right back.
They sold Trippier, didn't they?
Yeah, they were going to struggle there, and obviously like Rose went out middle of the season as well. Their defense is old, Alderweireld and De Jong, and it was relying heavily on those players stepping up.
And then in fourth position, then I put Wolves, which somebody Harry Mansell, in fact, friend of the podcast, he tweeted me because there was a game a couple of weeks ago where Chelsea and Leicester both lost, and Wolves were 2 points off third place with 6 games to play, and everyone was going mad. And he tweeted me saying that the only person to say this at the beginning of the season was me. And I feel really, really annoyed that we haven't done it because the run of games that we had towards the end of the season, we didn't have anybody difficult to play until we had Arsenal to play and we had Chelsea to play in the last 6 games. We should never have lost the Burnley game.
No. Did you lose that or draw that?
Sorry. It felt like a defeat, but we drew it. But the VAR thing in that, taking that out of the game, we should have put the game to bed anyway. Then with Sheffield United, we lost to in a really poor game, which we didn't go and try and win the game. We just sort of sat on a point. There was a few times where it just felt like we were shooting ourselves in the foot, whereas
I said to you before,
we should have gone through.
I said to you before, I think it was last week, I said, no one seems to want top 4. It was a case of everyone was like, especially up until that point, everyone was throwing it away. And it was only right at the end that Chelsea, I think I said last week as well, at the start of the season, if you'd have given me an FA Cup final and 5th, I'd have taken your hand off.
Yeah.
But we've got 4th on the FA Cup final. So if we win on this weekend, I think it's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then I'll be chuffed and stuff. But then obviously moving forward, then we did an end of year review on the podcast in between Christmas and New Year, where we did like a quiz, and at the end we quickly went through a couple of predictions, and I've gone through that and wrote them down. So I'll start with Liverpool because that one was, you had the same there. You only gave predictions for this one again.
I contradicted myself a lot with Liverpool. I listened back to this episode. It's ridiculous. Go on.
You said you had Liverpool to win the title in March, and I think they were 1 game away, weren't they? I
think they would have done it, wouldn't they, in March?
Yeah, so you were near enough bang on there, and you said they would get close to the points record of 100 points.
What did they end up on?
99.
They finished on 99 points, did they?
Hang on, I've got it here. Let me have a look quickly.
I know they lost quite a few games, didn't they, towards the end? Arsenal beat them. Southampton, did they beat them? Or was it Man City that Southampton?
Yeah, 99. They finished on 99 points. So you had one off there. So take your victories when you can. Then things started to, fall down. You said they'd be in the final. You said they were going to win all the titles, and then you contradicted yourself. And no, Liverpool were going to be in all the finals. So you said they'd win be in the final of the FA Cup, which they're not. The final of the Champions League, which we then had the prediction at in Madrid where he said, "Oh, Liverpool are going to smash Atletico Madrid," and they didn't.
Yeah. And they lost.
They lost. So that went round, and then you had Wolves to win the FA Cup.
We lost in the third round.
Yeah, and you knew and have got relegated. Not relegated.
Relegated. We got relegated from the FA Cup. We're so bad. We're not allowed to compete in it again.
You're not allowed to compete in it again now. So they lost in that. You've got Wolves to win. You had Wolves to win the Europa League, which is still on. That's still pending.
I don't think it will, but
Man City to win the Champions League, that's still pending.
Still
on. You had West Ham. Just as another few different ones. You had West Ham to be okay to stay up, which
they just about were.
They just about did. Pearson had just been appointed, and you said, with Pearson being appointed, you said, it'll be close, but they'll have not the opportunity, but they'll stay up or just about.
If they hadn't have sacked him with 2 games to go.
Yeah, they were. But then the predictions you gave then for the bottom 3, you might have different. But from what I can work out, you had Norwich to be relegated, which was right, and Villa, which obviously was just up. And then you didn't give another one, so I took it down. You meant I'm presuming you meant Watford.
Yeah, I think
because you were going up and down with Watford, so I'm presuming it was Norwich, Watford, and Villa. And I know on numerous occasions you've put down Bournemouth to be relegated over loads of seasons, but this season you didn't, purely in the basis that they would go down if you didn't put them. So,
but I think at that point in the season, I might be wrong, but Bournemouth were quite mid-table. They might be like 12th or 13th, and then all of a sudden they just
plummeted.
They won the last game of the season, but then
I don't think Bournemouth would have been anywhere near our predictions back then anyway. But you also had Leeds and West Brom to come up.
Yeah, I was impressed with that as well.
So you had them, and I don't know whether you'll get the prediction of having them West Brom the first game and last game of the season. Obviously, the fixtures haven't been announced yet.
So if anybody hasn't listened to that, don't go back and listen to it because it was quite a long one. But I mean, listen to it if you want. But I said I hope we play West Brom on the first game of the season away from home and we beat them 10-0. And then we played them on the last game of the season at Molineux and we beat them 10-0 again and we relegate them.
So there's your prediction for next season already.
Well, we'll do those just before the season starts because we've got. I mean, usually this sort of time I would be making that kind of video, the end of July, but season starts on the 12th of September, doesn't it? So,
but what I'd had a look at, Tom, is because we've still got the Champions League and Europa League to go on. I was wondering if you wanted to change your predictions of Wolves and Man City, or if you wanted to stick with it. You have an opportunity because obviously it was in Christmas, so obviously a few teams have been knocked out. Not that either of those teams have, but you also know the route that
that's true. I'm not sure Man City's route.
To take, I've got
Man City's route. Well, I just talk about Wolves.
Wolves you can do the Europa League.
So Wolves' route to the final is we've currently 1-1 with Olympiacos in the last 16 game, but we've got an away goal. So that game is next week, midweek. Yeah. So if we get through that, then we've got either Sevilla or Roma, which made me so sad because that quarter-final game would have been in the Easter holidays and we'd have been going to either Spain or
I think
Italy.
both I'd have come with you for that one as well, I think.
Yeah, and then the semi-final then is either against Copenhagen or Istanbul Beşiktaşhir, whatever that team's called.
Yeah, great.
Or it's against Manchester United or
LASK.
Yeah, Lask, but that game's 5-0 at the moment to Man United, so it won't be Lask. So it's either Istanbul Başakşehir, Copenhagen, which is where Ståle Solbakken, Wolves' former manager, is currently manager. So that'd be quite an interesting one. And then the final, of course, will be against whoever from the other side of the draw. So you've got like Inter Milan on that side,
Rangers,
Getafe, Rangers,
by Leverkusen,
possibly, yeah. So I mean, it's the way the Wolves finished the season. I'm not as
confident as you were.
As I might have been had the season have gone as normal. I think the two-legged games would have suited us because of us being so good defensively. Away from home, we wouldn't have conceded. At home, we wouldn't have conceded many goals. So the away goals rule would not have affected us too much. But I'm not sure in this format of the competition. I think we'll get. I'm hoping that we get into it, but I can't see us lasting too long. Sevilla or Roma, I think, will be a really tough challenge in the quarterfinal.
Yeah. I think the winner will come from your side of the
Yeah, I
of
think
the
well,
competition,
Sevilla have got the.
purely because of like Leverkusen have lost Werner now, so they've obviously
Hmm.
lost a lot. Firepower up front.
He's
And
not. He's not. You're thinking of Kai Havertz is at Leverkusen.
Havertz is at
Werner's
Leverkusen, yeah. So,
at Leipzig.
was at Leipzig, yeah. So Havertz potentially could have his turn and stuff.
Yeah, so Jimenez is the big deal with us now, whether or not he's staying.
Yeah.
And there's been lots of rumours about £80 million price tag that's been met by Man United and by Juventus. And for £80 million, I would not.
I was going to ask you later,
but I would. I'd let him go. But then I'm not sure how things work because is the transfer window open now? I know that it closes.
Yeah, the transfer window's open. But I know when Chelsea signed Werner, there was an option for him to stay for the Champions League, or like the leagues and things like that, because they can't, they couldn't play in the Premier League, and he can't play in the Champions League for Chelsea because he's cup tied. But in terms of moving forward, not that they'd probably be. There might be a few cases because obviously you're only allowed to play in for two teams in a season. So whether if, for example, Jimenez went to Man United and they wanted to loan him out then or whatever, they couldn't. He wouldn't be able to play for three teams, but he wouldn't be able to play in the Europa League if he went to United anyway.
No, but it's the fact that he wouldn't be able to play for us if he was to.
Yeah, I think there'd be an option, especially I think United would be silly if United signed him for them to allow him to play in the competition still, because you're likely going to meet in that you would meet.
Yeah, they can't because he's cup tied. But
no, but if United let him stay at Wolves and play. It'd be silly for them to do that. Whereas if he went to Juventus, then it's a different because he wouldn't
play in the Champions League. Yeah.
He could play in the Champions League, or they could allow him to stay at Wolves because they're not going to meet and stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah,
true.
So I reckon it'll be someone from your side of the draw. I'll say Wolves just to keep you happy.
No, I don't think it would be, but I appreciate.
But moving on,
it would be.
Moving on to the Champions League, you've got Man City are currently 2-1 up against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And the winner of the winner of that leg will face either Lyon, who are 1-0 up against Juventus, and then potentially Munich, Chelsea on the slight off chance, Barcelona or Napoli. So that side of the draw is this side which I think the winner will come from.
Yeah,
because the other side you've got Leipzig, Atletico Madrid, Atlanta, and PSG. And they're set. That's the round of 16.
Of course, because they played their things.
Yeah, they've already played their half of their second leg. So that side of the draw has been fixed.
I've completely forgotten about the Atalanta story.
Yeah, but they dropped. They had a chance to. They still had a chance to win the league. It was it was a real long shot. But it was close until I don't know whether they finished the league yet. But they were still up in the air. I know Juventus have won it now. And I know they've dropped down a few positions, but there'll be a shock. It'll be a shock on PSG must be happy because they've got that side of the draw is in my opinion the weaker side of the draw, especially if you've got Barcelona, and Juventus on that side. Even though both of them aren't in this, Barcelona are drawing, but they've still got to get past Munich. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think you are right there. I can't see any of those teams winning apart from Atletico Madrid. I think they'll just because, and particularly in these 90-minute ties rather than it being two legs, because we've seen Simeone now. Well, you've seen him up close and personal. He's not one to let his team rest. They're going to be battling to the last minute. So they are my secret underdogs.
Oh yeah, if I was to pick someone from that side.
They're the best team in that side. Although Leipzig are a little bit unpredictable. I don't really know a lot about them. But if Werner's not playing, then I think they've got solely less chance. I'd really like Atalanta to do well because although they are blamed a lot for the spread of coronavirus within Europe, because there was a game between Atalanta and a Spanish team. I can't remember which one it was. Perhaps you can. Is it maybe Villarreal? I don't think it was actually. It was
Valencia.
Valencia, it must have been Valencia because they beat. Yeah, it was Valencia. So 40,000 people from Spain and Italy went to the San Siro in Milan. 2 or 3 weeks, before it absolutely went mad. Then they all went back to Spain and Italy, and they were then the next peaks. Yeah. So, and then of course, so there's a lot of football to be blamed for the spread of
for what is going on. Yeah, but
yeah. So let me just look at the other side of the draw. So Real Madrid are going to get knocked out to Man City. Juventus are going to come back against Lyon, so that's going to be a Man City Juve semi-final. Chelsea are not going to come back against Bayern Munich. Sorry, Billy, there's too much for them to do. So
I'll give you that one.
Yeah, Barcelona Munich semi-final, City Juve semi-final. Are they quarterfinals? Yeah, it must be quarterfinal.
Yeah.
And then you've got so City are going to beat Juve.
Yeah.
Barca are going to beat whoever they've got, Bayern Munich. Then you've got City, Barca in the semi-final. I think.
Yeah.
Pep against his old team. That'd be tasty. Yeah. But I don't know. I've got to stick with City. I think City got a good chance, and I think in this format they'll do it.
I think they'll go for it as well now, especially because with the league and stuff. I think that's probably what they've been focusing on. And if De Bruyne keeps it up, he's on form.
Well, but City have come back the strongest, haven't they, as well? Really.
Yeah.
Apart from Man United.
The other game I wanted to get your thoughts on. There's two other things I want you to predict. Is Fulham v Brentford. Who are you going for there?
Well, I'm backing Brentford. I want Brentford to win. I'm really annoyed that they didn't play like this in one of the last two games of the season. Because it would have meant that Albion would have been in the playoffs. Would have been in
this position.
And Brentford would have got promoted, but they've done really well to come back because the first leg as well against Swansea they lost, didn't they? But they just had a hell of a first half of the second leg.
Both playoff when they one team won each leg, so it was just a case of who won. Yesterday with if it goes out today, with Cardiff losing last night, well winning but ultimately losing last night. They turned it around, and then Brentford doing the same. But I think Brentford. I probably Scott Parker I think has proved a lot of people wrong. I don't think many people would have thought that he could have done what he's done down in the Championship, because when he got appointed, when they went down, there was a few question marks. But they will probably be one of my favourites for next season, if they don't make it up. But I think
from what I've heard, Brentford have deserved it since the restart. They've been really, really good, but just blew it towards the end.
Yeah,
the way that Albion got promoted as well was shameful. They lost the penultimate game and drew the last game. That was enough to get them promoted. Terrible, horrible, but never mind. Right, Billy, I'm going to just brief. Oh, you're going to say something? Go on.
Yeah, I'm not. I was going to say we're not going to bother predicting the FA Cup because I know both of us want Chelsea to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of Wolves' European places and stuff. So we're just going to gloss over that. But I don't know if you realise, Tom, that tomorrow also is the start of the Scottish Premiership.
Is it?
Now, I didn't realise this. It was only when I was looking through what competitions and fixtures were coming up. I was like, Scottish Premiership. There was odds coming up for them. I was like, what? So that starts tomorrow. The first opening fixtures are tomorrow.
Oh,
not that I think if
I'll
I had to predict,
Celtic will win the league.
But I just thought it's mad to think that we've still got competitions that aren't finished with UK teams still in it, and their leagues are starting for that. So that was just a strange.
Well, and it's if Chelsea are to win tomorrow and Wolves go into Europe again, then we have to go to the first stage of qualifying like we did last year. But that doesn't start until the 12th of September, I think it is. So, the football season starts on the 12th of September. Then I think the 15th is when the Europa League starts.
Yeah.
So, and we don't have. If we're to go all the way to the group stages, we're not going to have a free midweek fixture until mid-October. I think is what it is, because I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening with the League Cup, but I think that's going on as normal. Isn't they haven't cancelled?
Yeah,
I
think.
So it's just going to be. It's going to be absolute mayhem.
Absolute scenes.
But we're not going to be able to see any of it, Billy, because it's all going to. We're not allowed back in stadiums now. They've cancelled all the pilot things, haven't they, today?
Yeah.
So. That's a shame. So we'll be doing other things like watching cricket. Billy, did you watch any of the Test match that they've had the last couple of weeks?
No. I'll be brutally honest. No, I haven't. Billy, as much as I know you're going to berate me now,
So I'll just start off with Ben Stokes because he had another blinding couple of games. He was the captain for the first game, and much like his idol, me, didn't win in that game. But then the second game, he won England the game pretty much single-handedly. Batted
again.
Really, but he scored 176 or something, which is his second highest score for England, and then bowled really well as well. He was the man of the match for that game. But the highlight from that game, there was one point where they had the field all up really close to the bat. Stokes came up and bowled. They hit the ball past him, and as he had bowled it, he thought, there's no fielder back there. So he stopped, ran to the length of the field, slid, stopped the ball to save one run. So that just shows you the commitment. He's a proper war horse. He's amazing. Yeah. But the main story from the last game was that Stuart Broad took his 500th Test wicket. So there's not many fast bowlers that take that number of wickets, and he's only 33. He's still got quite a few years left in the tank. And so between him and the Burnley Lara, Jimmy Anderson, they've got something like 1,000 Test wickets between the two of them. And it's because cricket's it has become not a mainstream sport. It used to always be one of the top sports because it was always broadcast on terrestrial television. Yeah. But since it's been on Sky, not many people watch it, and it's such a shame because this is the best England team. And they're two of the best players to ever play the game of cricket, ever. Yeah. And people like you, Billy, don't even know who they are.
I know who they are. I know, especially Jimmy. And Stokes obviously has been a common theme on this podcast. Every time we have I think he's mentioned. I think last week was the first time he hadn't been mentioned. It was in a while. But no, fair play to them. It's always, with accolades of sports, it's one of those things which, like you say, unless you're into the sport, they get overlooked and people just don't understand the magnitude of them and stuff. But yeah.
I was thinking as well in the last couple of weeks, because I remember in March people saying, sports personality is going to be interesting this year, isn't it? It's just going to be what's his name, Tyson Fury knocking down Wilder, and that's it. But we are going to have a few now. Like Marcus Rashford has been mentioned a lot for his school meals drive. But yeah, there will at least be some kind of competition.
Two. You've got two now.
Well, I'm going to put Stuart Broad in there as well. Maybe Ben Stokes, because there's been so little sport. He's had a good series.
Henderson will be in there. Henderson will be in there purely because
Henderson, Liverpool winning the league, and also it was him and James Milner who arranged the Players Together initiative. Do you remember that in the lockdown? So they all donated a bit of money towards NHS charities. They're my absolute scenes of the week. Stuart Broad doing that. Have you got anything? Any story to tell us?
Well, I've been reading a lot over the last over the lockdown, and I've just finished. I think I told you about it previously, but I've just finished it again. Is a book on John McAvoy, which is he's a former convict, and he currently still holds one of them, but he held 4 world records for rowing, indoor rowing. So he went from, it's called Redemption from Iron Bars to Iron Man. So you've probably heard of Iron Man. It's a competition which is it's like a triathlon, but you run a marathon, you cycle 100 and something miles or kilometers, and you swim. It's something ridiculous.
Do they do that in one day?
In one day, yeah. So
That's
it's something
insane.
like. So he's a professional athlete now. I think he does it he did the last one he did was in like 9 hours something. So it's something ridiculous, but it's really good. It's a really famous story because his dad, not his dad, I think it was his uncle, was a famous bank robber from the 80s, and they made a film. Fool's Gold is the name of the film, where he robbed. What was the name of it was Brinksmat robbery is the name, where they robbed a load of 24 million pounds of gold, and they went down for it and stuff. But yeah, it's a really good story because he gets into.
What's the name of the book then?
Redemption, from Iron Bars to Iron Man.
Okay. And it's
Definitely
not James. It's not James McAvoy. Is it? What was his name?
No, John.
John. James is
Yeah.
the actor in it.
Actor, yeah. But just to put it into perspective, he goes to prison and he gets put into Belmarsh prison, which is the top, one of the top security prisons, and he gets put in with the four, when he's in prison at the time, because it's back in 2011, I think. He's in prison with the London suicide bombers from the trains, the ones who failed in their attempt, and Abu Hazam, who's the guy with who has
do you mean Abu Hamza? Yeah,
Hamza, yeah. The guy with, so he's in prison with those. So that shows the magnitude of what caliber of prisoner they thought. And he was only 22, I think, at the time when he got arrested. But yeah, definitely give it a read for all of you. It's a underdog story, and I read it within 2 days again, because it's literally, you're going from prison life to sport, and it was really 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 interesting.
What was the other book then you said?
Billy Connolly. So from one spectrum to another. I read it was the book that I bought when I bought you your Christmas present, Tom. Your Ben Stokes one. So I finished that. It's basically, it's his stand-up routine in written form. So it's just like snippets of. So it's one you could put down and pick up and stuff. So I finished reading that, so that was good. So I'm now looking for something else to read.
Okay, well, Billy, for the first time in about 5 years, I've read a book this week.
Other than the one that I bought you, other than that one, which you read in Madrid.
I haven't quite completed that yet. But so the book I read was called Reasons to Stay Alive. I think it's that. I've written down here. I've had to cross words out. I put because at first I thought it was called Reasons Not to Die. But I thought no, it can't be called that. That would be that's too morbid. Then I put Reasons to Live, and I thought that's not very catchy. So I think it was Reasons to Stay Alive. But the author is called Matt Haig, Haig, and it's a very very easy read. If I can read it, Billy, anyone can. That's what you want to hear from a teacher.
A teacher.
But if there were lots of very short chapters, lots of like lists and but it's all about depression, and it's all about, so basically he had a depressive episode which led to him wanting to commit suicide, but then he talks about the steps that he takes to make him feel less anxious, etc. But very, very, it's only £5 from all good supermarkets and some bad ones.
Yeah. But yeah, there we are. Then I'll order that now and give that a read.
Yeah, you'll finish it in a day, easy. It's only about 200 pages. But
yeah, no, that's fine. But yeah, no, I'd highly recommend. I think he's only got one. It's the 1,000 meters is what he still has the world record for, which he completed in 6 hours. So he did all these records in prison. He smashed all these world records
up and down his cell.
Well, he had a gym in there. He had it's a Concept 2 rower, which is the brand of rower. It's a well-known one. Any rowing machine basically up and down the country is probably a Concept 2. So it was an indoor rower which they had in this gym, and he held four world records. I think one was like a 20. How far I think he could row in 24 hours must be the thing.
Right.
And then there was a few others which was how quickly he could get to a certain distance. I think he did like a million meters, a million kilometers, a million meters, or something like that. Yeah,
in a day.
Like that. Not in a day, but he was tracking how long. That one, I think he did that one first. He did that one for charity, and then he was like, "That's how they read the book, Tom. Just read the book."
Okay.
But there we are. But anything else you want to mention? Because
well, there was one last thing which made me chuckle because at the beginning of lockdown they were going to be the next Man City, but now they're going to be the next Orient. So Newcastle United take over as well. They've pulled out of the Saudi businessman. I'm not sure what they were, but there was people are criticising the Premier League because basically they've dragged their heels for so long because they know that these Saudis are dodgy and they've got human rights issues, but they sort of haven't said, no, you can't buy Newcastle. They've just gone, let's just double check that thing you just said, blah, blah, blah. So
from what I heard, it was to do with it not being clear who the owner would be or the owners would be. From what I've heard, so I think that's what they put it down to, as a case of it wasn't clear because it was being led by some well-known businesswoman or something, wasn't it? I remember seeing her in the stands and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't her who was going to be the owner. She was just facilitating it.
Yeah.
So I think that's to do with it as well. But I saw on Twitter today, I think it was a case of, it was like a clip of Stuart Pearce saying instead of signing Cavani or Ibrahimovic, he's now going to end up signing Connor Wickham or something. But yeah, it's in a way it's sad to see because Newcastle, similar to like Leeds coming back, they are a big club and seeing them. But in terms of it's less competition for Chelsea and Wolves for the top four because it's getting crowded. I think it's always good to see teams, but it's getting more and more compact now. Next season, which we'll probably do at a later date, predicting who's going to finish where and stuff it's getting harder and harder. Which has shown, I think, with a lot of similar to yours, a lot of people predicting the league, which a load of YouTube channels do and things like that. I think this season in particular, no one predicted. I think the last time where there was so many people wrong was when Leicester won it. That was like 5 years ago for that. But yeah, it's a shame. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are happy because it's Newcastle and it's an absolute shit show there. But yeah, being impacted by Mike Ashley when he took over JJB's when I was working there. I couldn't be happier that he's balls it up again. They'll probably get relegated again now next season.
It's the same old story for Newcastle fans because it's a cycle. Whenever a transfer window opens, there's always a takeover about to happen. They all get carried away. They all rub their hands together. And then Mike Ashley, the price that Mike Ashley put on the club is ridiculous. He's valued at something like 400, 500 million pounds, which, all right, you've got the stadium and there's all sorts of little things. They are quite a commodity, but you look at the playing squad.
If Kepa's worth 75 million, then...
Let's finish the podcast by talking about tomorrow then. So it's already come out in the news that he's not playing tomorrow, isn't it? It's going to be...
No, it's Caballero. And it's more to do with it. I think he's been the cup keeper. And so I think that's how Lampard's played it off, is he's the cup keeper, that he was always starting. But Lampard's not commented on the Bayern Munich game. He said after, I think they were talking to him about the game against Wolves, he was like, Kepa's not starting today and I'm not going to comment on anything up until after that or whatever. Or he passed some comment about the Champions League or something like that, or after the FA Cup, something like that, because obviously they were on about selling him. It's Chelsea are highly likely to have got 2 games left this season and no more. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't start in either of those and he's shipped out on loan, is probably the more likely of the options. Oblak's being linked with us for 100. I think that seems to be the most logical step is us to sign Oblak, because United are linked with him as well, which doesn't make sense. Whereas if they were going to get in someone, they might as well just put Henderson in and stuff, because we've been linked with him. Pope's been linked. I would, Nick Pope, I'd be happy, to see him, but I don't know whether Oblak just seems to be the best choice, because he'll be a commanding presence at the back. Not that Pope isn't, but Pope coming into a big club and playing on the Champions League and all that around him as well. It might, shell shock him. Whereas Oblak, it's a case of he's done it, he knows what he's doing, and he'll just tell Zuma and Rudiger.
It'd be like Courtois again, wouldn't it, coming from Atletico Madrid to Chelsea? Although you owned Courtois, didn't you, before loaning him?
He was on loan. Yeah, he was on loan to Atletico for numerous amounts of seasons because we had Petr Cech, and then he came back. They had a little bit of a fight, did him and Cech, in terms of going for position and stuff. But yeah, it'll be. I think that's we've got Havertz apparently imminently to sign. Chilwell's probably next. Yeah. And then after them, I think, and then it's a goalkeeper over a centre back. Obviously, with Ake now, I think we spoke last week about Ake going to City and things like that. I think we need a commanding presence either in goal or at centre back to shore us up, which unfortunately don't think Ake is.
For the game tomorrow, then, how do you see it going?
I think we'll win. I can see Giroud coming back to haunt Arsenal, because I think he's going for like his 5th FA Cup or something like that. So hopefully we do. I'm wary because when they've got the likes of Aubameyang up front, and even Lacazette as well. I know he's not been firing, but the fact that they can hit the target Luckily we haven't got Kepa, but if we had Kepa in goal and they could hit the target, I'd be worried. I'm slightly more confident with Caballero in goal, but even then, still, it's still a worry. I'll be interested to see. Kante's supposed to be back as well, so that also boosts confidence because having him back is just having the two players back. But yeah, I think Chelsea. I'll go for Chelsea. I'll go 3-2 because I know we're not keeping a clean sheet. We're not going to keep a clean sheet.
What a game.
I'll go for 1-0 to Chelsea. I felt far more confident last year when it was Man City playing Watford for us to get into the Europa League. I think it's a lot tighter tomorrow. Although the last time that these two teams met in a final was over in Baku last year, and it was not even a contest. Was it 4-1? Did it finish?
Hazard lit up the show. I'm hoping for a similar performance from Pulisic, and then we'll be all right.
Yeah, he's the man of the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, at the minute he does light it up and stuff. So with Kante back, it'll give him more freedom, I think, to just do what he wants. But there we are. Cool.
Right,
for another week.
We'll finish there. I'll say the Twitter and the Instagram handles, but nobody follows us on there, so it's fine. I think everybody who listens to this podcast, we probably know by name. So
share the podcast.
Tell all of your friends.
Yeah.
But I was quite impressed to see, like, when I hadn't looked at the stats for quite a long time, and I went back on it. We've had nearly 1,000 listens now. Over.
Do we get like a plaque now or something for 1,000 listens?
No, do they? Also, I got to have a go at Matt Tynan because Billy I sent it out to everybody on Instagram. And he came back to me because the episode was called Out of Hibernation.
Yeah.
He must have read it as Hibernian because he responded. He said, I'm something about being, let me see if I can find it out. But it was basically like he was saying that he was a Hearts fan or Hearts over Hibernian.
That's what my sister's fiance, he's a Hearts fan. And they briefly to go back to Scotland because they've been officially relegated now because they were putting in an appeal. But obviously, because it starts now tomorrow, they've had to obviously you're not playing in the Premier League.
Have they only announced that?
No, they'd appeal similar to Wigan. No, it wasn't today. I think it was like last week. It was pretty recent where they put in an appeal. Them and I think there was another team had put in an appeal for them not to be relegated because I think both teams went down from they have that playoff, don't they? So yeah, have you found?
So he sent a message that said Hibs and then loads of sicky faces and then hearts, glorious hearts. But Matt, it was not Hibernian, it was hibernation. So glad that's another primary school teacher that can't read. Yeah. Cool. So if you want to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, it's either at Scenes Podcast or at Absolute Scenes Pod. But get your suggestions for Billy's podcast. Where the hell is Billy? Or Billy's
where's Wally?
Vlog.
Where's the Wally?
Where's the Wally? Yeah. But we'll leave you there for this week. Another enjoyable podcast. That was episode 37.
9.
So
9 or whatever. I don't know what it is now.
I think it's 37. Anyway, we'll see you all on the flip flop. See ya. Bye.